everybody, my name is Megan. You're watching Miss Megan Knits. Links to all the Ravelry projects I talked to you about, as well as like any other random things I cover, will be in the description box below. How are you all? Sorry, that's the polite thing, is to ask how you guys are. How are you? How are you doing? How have your weeks been? My weeks have been absolutely insane. Not even busy as much as I've had some medical stuff going on. I've been having a lot of trouble swallowing, and that's really scary when you can't swallow reliably. It's like I'm afraid I'm gonna choke, and it's hard to eat, and it's hard to take my medicine, and it's hard to do all that stuff, so it's really scary. Turns out that's a side effect of one of my bipolar medications, so gotta reduce the dose on that to get the side effect away, but that also means that I might have an episode, and I'm scared of having an episode. I don't want to be depressed again, I don't want to be manic again, I don't want to be mixed again, so that's kind of been running through my brain. And then also, while we're at it, we kind of discovered, my doctor and I discovered that my facial tic, which I don't know if you've noticed in videos before, I've seen it in my Plurn video that I link to a lot. My mouth kind of does like a kind of thing when I'm not paying attention. And that was just a harmless, we thought, just a harmless side effect of one of my medications. Kind of embarrassing, but fine. Turns out it's probably tardive dyskinesia, which is a lot more scary. It's treatable now. Now we have a pill for it. It used to be a really, really scary thing, but I don't have a great history of tolerating medications, and it's just a big, like, I hope I can tolerate the treatment for it, basically is what I'm saying. So I've been dealing with that a lot, and as a result, I haven't been crafting as much as I usually do. I've been really too anxious to craft. I've been managing my moods, trying to, by, going outside and taking walks. I've been exercising, I've been eating better, trying to do all the preventative things you can do to try and help yourself in these kinds of situations. But, they only do so much, so we'll see. Anywho, I haven't been crafting so much, and a lot of what I have been crafting have been gifts that have already been given away. So I will be showing quite a bit of photo evidence right here that I did do these things, and we will see how that goes. But yeah, that's what's been going on with me. I dyed my hair. I did esalon.com. I ordered from them. It's not the color I was hoping for. I don't think they really do vivids. Because I picked the color closest to bright red and said, like, hey, can you make it, like, extremely bright red? And they didn't, so I'm a little not so happy about that. But it works fine. It's better than what it was before, which was very root and then, like faded pink color. So I'm glad it's not that anymore. And, yeah, that's what's going on with me. So I'm just gonna start off with my FOs, as I usually do. The first thing I made was a pair of socks for my boyfriend, and I will show a photo somewhere in this general vicinity right in front of my beautiful face. And I didn't use a pattern. I did a ribbed cuff, I did a French heel in heel stitch, I did a gusset, of course, because you do French heel, you need a gusset, and I did a standard shaped toe. And then here is the yarn I did. This is Peyton's Cray blue striped rag. It comes out striped like the socks I just showed you. He's really enjoying his socks. I don't think he's worn them yet because it's been kind of warm here, but hopefully he enjoys them. I don't think I have anything else to say about that. I ran through that pretty quick. That's about it. They're just plain socks. They're ankle socks because he likes ankle socks. Yeah, that's about it. Okay. My next socks I made, also photo only. I made a pair of lacy socks for my mom. Lacy cables socks. They have both lace and cables in them. I didn't use a pattern. I did a 1x1 twisted rib cuff, going from the top down, of course, because the cuff starts, you can go from the top down. Lacy cables pattern from the Stitch Dictionary that I don't have on me for some reason. The Up, Down, All Around Stitch Dictionary by Wendy Bernard. There was a lacy cable stitch in there. I made it fit on the sock and made the sock that way. This sock has lacy cables going all the way around on the leg and just on the top of the foot. I used a French Eye of Partridge heel, which the Eye of Partridge I did the first time. On the first sock I messed it up because I'm not used to Eye of Partridge. I usually do heel stitch, but I thought Eye of Partridge might look nicer on this particular sock, so I did it. It didn't come out super great, but it came out just fine. And then I did a standard toe. This yarn was Loops and Threads Wool-like in Navy. See how much of this I have left? That's a lot left. And this was like $3 per skein. It's really soft. It seems to be really durable. It's an acrylic nylon blend. It's nice and thin, like a fingering or light fingering weight yarn even. And it comes in beautiful colors. I'm really liking it, actually. I've used it in a couple of projects, and definitely recommend it if you're looking for a shawl yarn or a sock yarn in a very budget-friendly kind of range. I haven't worn them on my feet personally to get the sweat factor, because with acrylic, sometimes it doesn't wick away moisture. But my dad and my mom both have socks made in it, and they say there's no foot sweat problem at all. They don't notice anything having a problem. So that's their review. Yeah, that was it. Lacy cable socks. I was very proud of those. Gave them to her kind of like a Mother's Day present. It was kind of late for Mother's Day because I didn't finish them on time, but it was good. And then my last FO is something you haven't seen before, is a starfish. This is from the book Hooked on Amigurumi. Oh my goodness, I don't have the book on me. Melanie Morita, I think, is her name. I might be wrong. I don't have the book on me. I'm very unprepared today. I thought I was running up and down the stairs grabbing everything I needed, and I'm very unprepared. And you can see I should have used a smaller hook with him, because you can kind of see the stepping coming through. And my embroidery is not up to par, but it'll work. This is the Loops and Threads Impeccable Pumpkin, and I liked working with it. Split a little, not a ton. Part of working with amigurumi. Oh my gosh, there's a giant ant. Go away. Flicked him into oblivion. Oh, I hope they're not after anything down here. I don't think we have any food down here. This is my basement. I'm filming in right now. I usually have been in COVID filming in my bedroom, but my brother's asleep in the next room and I don't want to bother him, so I'm down in the basement. A giant ant crawling right in front of me. That's a little freaky. Okay. That's okay. And I made him to go with my jellyfish. So now they're both little guys. Okay. Now I have some whips. You've all seen my blanket for several weeks now. You will continue to see it for a long time because I have not made much progress on it this week, apparently. This is the Triple Puff Granny Square by Elaine Allosaire. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm so sorry. I used all different kinds of worsted weight acrylic yarn that I had in my stash. There's like no sense listing it all because it's just everything. It's every brand. I've got some Lion brand. I've got some Red Heart. I've got some Loops and Threads. I've got some Studio Classic by Nicole. I've got everything in there. So I didn't make much progress on it, but I'll show you what I've done so far. These are groups of 11 that I've bundled together. These are all blocked. These are all set to go. So I have 33 all set to go. 3 groups of 11. I'm going to need 143 to make a queen size bedspread, or if I've run out of steam before then, it'll be however many I have, and I will make like an afghan or a pillow or something. I don't know. I'll make something out of it. And then, what's worth noting, I have some rules for the squares. The inside color is always the same as the outside border, and the last round of Granny is always in gray. This is Karen's Simply Soft Gray Heather for the gray. I'm using a 5mm hook from the Knit Picks Bright Crochet Hook set. I like those hooks. I don't like that when I put my finger on the top, they squeak. I shouldn't put my finger there, I guess. That's not proper technique, I guess. But it's what I do. I put my pointer finger like on the hook, and that makes, I guess I have oils in my finger or something that makes a squeaky sound on the yarn. So I'm not a fan of that. Plastic hooks don't do that to me. But I like the grip. So that's what I use. Yeah, so those are my rules, and all the granny squares follow it. But other than that, I've just been spinning a wheel on my phone. Like I have a random wheel app. You spin it and it selects something for you. So I've been making just random color combinations. So this is what I've got so far. None of the ends are woven in. I generally tend to do a batch of 11 and then weave in all the ends at once. And just kind of keep showing you. Just the ones I've made since last time we saw each other. I'm not sure how many this is, I'll count in a minute. All of them? That's all of them. So we will see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 squares. 9. 9 squares since the last time I saw you. Yeah, that's not so many. Especially since I can work one of these up in a sitting. Like I can work a whole square in a sitting. That's not very many sittings. But I've just been, I don't know, I've had problems. I've had problems. Yesterday I laid on the couch and cried all day. Like I was not having a good time. So I've been trying to do my best. And that is enough because this is for fun. This is crochet and knitting. This is fun. This is not something I do for a job. This is not something I need to do with a deadline. This is something that comforts me and soothes me and makes me feel good, so I do it on my own time. That's what I'm going to tell myself, because I'm kind of embarrassed about not doing very much in this past 2 weeks. But then I look at my notes, and I've done quite a bit, so I don't know. It's also worth noting, I'm here with no makeup and my glasses, and I have zits on my chin, and I'm coming to you as I am, because I felt like I've been procrastinating making this video, because I'm kind of embarrassed, and if I don't just do it, I might procrastinate some more. So I was like, I'm in the mood, I'm feeling good, I'll just do it, and that'll be it. Oh, the bed's squeaking as I bounce up and down on it, so sorry. That was everything I needed to talk about with the yeah, hooks in there. With the blanket. Okay. Next whip. Gooseberry shawl. I've been working on this one for a while too. I've been actually thinking about it since January. I went on a walk on Gooseberry Island on January and I was so inspired. This project has morphed and taken different forms since then, but this is what it is now. I have finished the second section, the gray section, which is supposed to represent, am I looking at the front? Are you looking at the front? No, you're looking at the front, okay. It's supposed to represent shells, so I guess upside down. I knew something wasn't right. It's a triangle shawl with a center spine, so it'll be more like a trapezoid. And the second section was the shell section. You can see if I hold it, maybe you can't, the lighting's pretty bad down here. But there's a shell. And then here are pebbles. Pebble stitch. And then for the next section that I'm working on now, this cream section. No, you're definitely looking at the back. No, you weren't, because I flipped. I'm not in a good spot right now. Okay, so here it is. For this next bit, we have sand, which I've done just a reverse stockinette. I think that looks really good, and it's really easy, so that's good. And then I've done arrowheads to represent birds flying. Like it could be either a flock of birds or a bird with its wings out, depending on how you want to look at it. But there are lots of beautiful birds on the island. People go there to go bird watching. So it just is really nice birds, and I wanted to represent the birds there. And that's kind of an abstract way of representing birds, but I didn't want to do like a detailed bird outline on my shawl because that would be a little too much for me, a little too complex. But yeah, that's what I'm working on. The yarns I'm using are BC Garn Bio Shetland in the colorways. You ready? Actually, I don't know which one this is. Flannel Gray, Pebble, Shape Nougat that you've seen, and then the fourth and final section on the shawl, the one that's going to be all around the outside, is going to be a waves pattern for the water. It's going to be in Sapphire, which is a beautiful blue. I think it'll pop really nicely against these colors. Let me kind of hold it up. I think it'll look really good. This yarn is growing on me. I hated it at first, but it's growing on me. I like it a little bit. I'm using US 5 needles, big circular needle. It's a 40-inch circular needle, and it's still crunched up on there, so we'll have to see how big the shawl is when it's done. I didn't do very good math for gauge or anything, so we'll see. And then, of course, I was saying before, oh, maybe I'll, write up this pattern and sell it. That's probably not in the cards for me right now, especially given everything. But I will be keeping notes on what I do, and maybe in the future sometime when I'm feeling better, when the world is feeling better, I'll write it up and publish it, but it's not in the cards for me right now. Sorry if you were interested in that, but it'll be just for me at this point. What is this? Oh, this is the working yarn. So there's a loop here. It's a working yarn. Okay, that's where we're at. My next whip is Plarn. I've actually been really enjoying crocheting on Plarn because it's just single crochet, really easy. You loop another ball on when one runs out. It's really soothing for me, especially compared to all of my other projects. The blanket's pretty soothing to crochet too. The shawl I have to pay more attention to, so it's more of a distraction project than a soothe the soul project. But either way, I am working on Plarn. And my current Plarn mat looks like this. I did some kind of skinny stripes at the bottom. This green is really pretty green, isn't it? Our local supermarket used to have green bags. They don't anymore, but they have these brown ones now. The stripes. Done some stripes. I'm kind of just winging it. I don't have a plan. I found that when I didn't structure my stripes at all, it looked really bad, and I didn't feel so comfortable giving it as a gift to somebody if it looked really bad. But then also, I found that when I structure too much, then I am wasting resources, I'm wasting time that I could be using to just whip one out and give it to somebody. So I'm kind of trying to balance the two things. I've been a little bit of a perfectionist about it, so I'm trying to just let go and just use whatever yarn I have, but also kind of try and group the colors together to make it look somewhat nice, so kind of just balance the two. Oh, my notes page, turn the page. I was like, what? That's a weird note. No, I turn the page on my notes. So the pattern for this mat is called Plarn Sleeping Mat for Charity by yours truly. It is for free on Ravelry if you'd like to have it. I also have a video called All About Plarn where I show a lot of the steps, so if you're more of a video-oriented person, I talk about the mat there too. I'm using a Q hook, and I'm using 2-inch strips of Plarn. The loops are cut 2 inches, and then looped together. And that's a good, flexible, durable, hefty enough to be squishy, but not so hefty that it's heavy kind of place to put I think it's the perfect middle. The Goldilocks width of Plarn, if you will. Not too big, not too small, it's just right. Okay, but that's what I'm going on. I'll put that back in the bag later, because that's hard to fold. I had this as a whip in my product list, but I finished it this morning, so it's an FO, and I forgot to move it in my lineup to the FO section. So I am going to tell you about it now. Anyway. I love when I make something and someone can look at it and know what it is, right? This is a duck. A mallard. And it looks like a duck. It's not perfect. He's a little... My mom described him as jaunty. He's a little bit crooked, just a little bit. His eyes are looking off kind of this way. My dad has a duck collection, and he hinted to me that a handmade duck out of yarn would be a cool thing to have. So I was like, I can do that, right? I was in an amigurumi mood. I have the colors in my stash, so I whipped out a duck. The pattern for this duck, I did use a pattern because I'm not that good at crochet or amigurumi yet to make something up, is Drake the Mallard Duck by Holly Broadbent. It's a $5 pattern, and Dad bought it for me because he owed me $5, so that's how he paid me back. The yarns I used a variety of yarns in this one too because I've been stash diving, but I can tell you what they are this time. The yellow is Karen 1 Pound in Sunflower. The green is Red Heart Super Saver Patty Green. Oh, and I also used Erin for this little bit and for this little bit too. That's the Red Heart Super Saver and Erin. This gray is the Studio Classic by Nicole Soft Gray, Studio Classic by Nicole Deep Brown, and black in that same yarn. I used a 2.5 millimeter crochet hook, and it's really small, and my yarn split a lot. I will say, especially the Studio Classic, I loved knitting with the Studio Classic. I've knit a lot with Studio Classic. When I tried to crochet with it with a larger hook on the blanket, it works okay. With the smaller hook for amigurumi, it's just splits and splits and splits and splits and splits, especially in the darker colors and you can't see very well. I wouldn't recommend it for amigurumi purposes, but I would recommend it for knitting purposes or like a blanket crochet purposes. That's what I would recommend. But yeah, 2.5 millimeter crochet hook. I used buttons as eyes. Now, a lot of people jump on people who use buttons for eyes, and I will tell you this. This is not going to a child. This is for a grown adult man who is not going to chew on it, who is going to set it on a shelf and look at it by his computer as part of a collection of various, he has wooden ducks, he has like fabric ducks, he has like stone ducks and beaded ducks. He has a bunch of ducks, right? So it's going to sit on the shelf with the ducks. It's not going to be played with by a child. If this was going to be played with by a child, over 3, I would use safety eyes. Under 3, I would either crochet circles and sew them on or embroider them or something, but I would not use buttons on a toy that was going to a child. I understand that that's bad. So just in case anybody is like rushing to their keyboards right now, I know, I would never for a child put buttons as eyes. And I told him jokingly when I handed him the duck, I said, don't chew on it. Because you might choke and die, so don't chew on the eyes. And he's like laughing like, okay, I won't, you know. This is not going to a kid under any circumstances. But yeah, I liked the pattern. The color work was kind of difficult. I'd never done crochet color work before, and there's color work on the body, because there's black here and no black here. And then the wings have some interesting color work as well. And I'd never done that before. It took me a while to figure out that you should twist the floats to catch them, just like you do when you're knitting. Because this wasn't done with intarsia, this was done with in the round. So I don't know. I'm no expert in color work, so it came out okay-ish. And the sewing together was a little rough. The wings are supposed to be more like closed in, but I liked them better laid out, and he can balance without feet now. Except I added feet anyway. There was a big debate of myself about whether I should add feet or not, and I ended up asking Dad, like, do you want feet or do you not want feet? Because, you know, when ducks sit down, they kind of tuck their feet under them. But he was like, he's cuter with the feet. I'm like, okay, he's cuter with the feet, I'll stitch the feet on. So I stitched the feet on, lightly stuffed them. This is the duck. Drake the Mallard Duck, Holly Broadbent, $5 on Ravelry. I would recommend the pattern a little bit. She says the wings are tricky. Like I'm telling you the wings are tricky. She admits in the pattern the wings are tricky with the color work. Like especially with such a small circumference doing the color work. But she gives tips on floating the yarns through the work, and of course me being a newbie did not know what that meant. So any mistakes I made were completely my own fault. She even gave instructions on how to tack the wings down so that they don't come apart, which is nice. I liked the pattern, and I made the duck successfully, clearly. I was gonna say butt, but I don't think I really have a butt. Like, I think every pattern, you have your criticisms of it, right? You have your, oh, they didn't write it the same way I would. Oh, my one criticism. Bunch of colors on the duck, right? Instead of saying, like, and I understand you don't want to say green, gray, brown, because if someone's making a different colored duck, then that's going to confuse the heck out of them, right? But the way she did it was very MC, AC1, AC2, AC3, CC, and I'm like, I cannot keep track of what all of these are. She lists them at the beginning, and when she lists them at the beginning, she doesn't say what color they are, she says the name of the colorway. Which, for something like, I forget what they all were, but rainforest or something, like, oh, that's probably green, so I know that's green. But for some of the colorways, like linen, like is linen this one, is linen this one, like which one is linen, and then which one is, So it was a little tricky to figure out in that regard. I ended up on my pattern crossing out all the places where she had her color abbreviations and writing in my own, because there were just so many abbreviations that it was difficult for me to understand and follow. Other than that, perfect pattern, really. And, that wasn't that hard for me to do. Took me an extra minute to go, wait, what is AC3? Oh, that's black. And write that in. Oh, what is, CC? Oh, that's, don't even remember what CC was. MC was apparently this gray color. And I was like, okay, well, I wrote it all in. And that took me a couple minutes to do, and that's it. It wasn't a deal breaker. It wasn't a huge deal. But that was my one gripe with the pattern. Okay. There's another FO here, and I don't have permission to show this one, but I'm going to show it anyway. Bear Knit. I taught him to knit New Year's Eve, okay? And he'd had this whip, I guess, laying around my basement for forever. Because we hang out down here. There's a TV down here. There's all kinds of stuff down here, so we hang out down here usually. And he had this whip laying around my basement. He used wool-like yarn, or not wool-like, wool spun. Lion Brand's wool spun in periwinkle. It's discontinued, so you won't be able to find it, but here it is. I got it at the thrift store, and yeah, anyway. It's a wool acrylic blend. And he used size 11 needles, straight needles, because I generally teach on straight needles if I'm teaching someone to knit, because they're a little bit easier to hold and get tension right when you don't have a cord. But then I switch people to circular needles pretty quick. I also teach on straight needles because I'm totally happy to give someone a pair of straight needles and say, take these home. I don't need these, right? Than I am to give up one of my circulars. So that's kind of why. And he made me a headband. It was really sweet because I told him he could knit anything rectangular, and he's like, I don't know what to make. It's rectangular. And I'm like, well, scarves, you can make scarf, but it'll take forever. I said, well, you know, we make winter headbands. He's like, I'll make you a headband. I'm like, okay, you're making something for me. That makes me feel happy. Here it is. You can see his improvement because if you see the start, oh, there's a little tail here that's broken. You can see the start, it's a little lumpy because, you know, first try, right? But then as you go on, this is the end. Nice and neat tension. He did a really good job. So I haven't put this on. Keeps my ears nice and warm. I like to wear it with pajamas. We haven't turned the air conditioning on yet in my house, but I will expect that when we do, I will need this because we keep it Arctic temperatures in here for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not in control of the thermostat. I am but a child. So, I can see myself using this. And in the winter, with a hat or without a hat, you know, if my hair is in a ponytail and I don't want to do a hat, this will work very well. I am very happy with it, and it makes me feel so happy when I put it on. It's like a hug, right? Like you wear something someone else made you. It's like a hug from that person, you know? Maybe I'm just too sentimental, but. And then I thought to kind of like celebrate the occasion of Bear's first project, his first FO. Oh, he says next he'll try and make a hat. This first FO, we have my first scarf. Yep. That's right, folks. This is my actual real first scarf. Before this, I used this same yarn to make a doll blanket, because that's something a 9-year-old girl wants to do with her first knitting project. But this is my first scarf, and it is kind of short, but I was kind of small. Look at that. It's nice and warm, too. Ooh, I don't know what yarn this is. The person who taught me basically just gave me a pre-wound ball, so I don't know what it is. It's probably gone now anyway. Feels like it's an acrylic. It's nice and warm and snuggly. And yeah, this is my first scarf. It's not long enough to really double up and pull the end through like I usually wear my scarves, so I'm going to kind of twist it. Hope it stays. If I had a jacket on, it would stay. I don't generally wear it very much, but it's something I've kept and held on to. Okay, I think, oh, and there's no Ravelry page for this scarf because I was 9 and didn't make one. I don't know what the yarn is anyway, so there's none for that. And there's none for the headband because I didn't want to overwhelm Bear with too much information on, here, have a Ravelry account, and here, do this, and here, do that. So I just kind of, you know, he just made it. Okay, let me take the scarf off. I'm getting hot. It's kind of warm here now, which is great. We're in New England. The weather's starting to get warmer. It's spring. It's supposed to be 78 later today. That's crazy. That's beautiful. I know some people will probably be like 78, nothing, right? 70, it's really nice. I mean, we're not in the Arctic, but in the winter, it doesn't get to be 78. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Again, links to everything, description box below. Links to my social media, description box below. Feel free, message me on Ravelry, message me on anywhere that I have links to below. I'd love to hear from you. Actually, I was heard from someone today, and that inspired me to make this video, because I was really not going to. I was going to put it off and put it off and put it off, and then someone sent me a message on Ravelry saying she watched my last video and, you know, whatever, and that made me really happy, so I jumped up and did this one really quick. So thank you. I have hair, straight hair. That's not it. Where is it? A little bit of hair right there. That's it. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in a future video. Bye!